Well, how about this? The sun is out and the roof is open for the first time this season inside Rogers Center. As we're getting you set for the first pitch, the middle game of this series. The Mariners fans making their way inside. The Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays. Last night, the no-hitter. What might happen here tonight as the Mariners bring some momentum out of the road trip already? Mariners and the Blue Jays getting set for game number 2. Happy to have you with us here on Goldsmith, Mike Flowers. And Mike, how about a look at that lineup tonight by manager Scott Service?
Mariners starting lineup is brought to you by Jack in the Box and D. Gordon. 3 more hits for him last night. He is first in Major League Baseball in hits with 49. Also leads the American League with 15 stolen bases. Ryan Haley, 7th in the lineup, hitting .349 with 5 home runs in his last 11 games. He has been a hot hitter. And Mike Zunino, a lot about the no-hitter last night, but Mike Zunino hit his 5th home run. He will hit 8th.
Facing Jaime Garcia, Mike, coming off his worst start, did not escape the 4th inning last time out.
Well, you can see the high ERA for him at 6, just 30 innings, but 13 walks, 32 strikeouts for him. But he's given up 8 home runs, high batting average against at .288. The Mariners, they're going to be patient, try to get in some hitters counts and take advantage of what has happened this year, and that is hit the ball out of the ballpark. Take a look at the defense. Dalton Pompey getting his first start out in left field. Russell Martin, typically one of the catchers, but he'll get a start at third base. We'll keep an eye on that. Luke Maley will do the catching for Toronto.
Garcia, start number 7 of the season. His numbers from his last start against a very good Indians lineup. 3 1/3 innings, 6 runs, knocked around a little bit. The walks were better his last time out. But a guy who left-handed hitters have been able to do some damage against as well. 4 home runs and a very lofty batting average, over .320 against left-handed bats like D. Gordon. That'll be something to watch too.
Yeah, and he's given up at least 1 home run in each of his outings this year, so he's had a tough time keeping the ball in the ballpark.
As usual, D. Gordon to lead things off for the Mariners. 3 hits last night, including a double.
The Mariners are 6th in hitting and 7th in home runs in the American League.
Going after the first pitch, fouls it away for strike 1. Mike, I don't know which is a more difficult question. What time James Paxton got to bed last night, or what time he woke up this morning?
Yeah, I know that there were a lot of requests for him, and obviously a lot of family and friends. It's a great point, but he looked terrific today here at the ballpark. He was signing autographs. We saw that before the game, taking pictures with people. On our pregame show, it was terrific.
When I heard someone from the Blue Jays PR staff in the Mariners clubhouse saying that the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame would like this and that from last night, then, oh, I think there's a lot of requests being put in to the Mariners, to James, to Scott.
Yeah, I think Tim Heavley probably had a busy day.
And James was kind enough to join us live on the pregame show with Jen. Evens up 2-2. And you could hear it when we heard sound from the clubhouse after the game from Scott Service, from some of his teammates as well, from Mike Zunino, Kyle Seager, and to a man, each one of them grinning ear to ear. It could not have happened to a better guy than James
That's what
Paxton.
they said.
Yeah.
Yeah, to a man.
D, a free pass into first base.
We'll take a look at it. Thought maybe he fouled it off, but he did not. Ends up going to the backstop. So it's great to have his speed on the bases.
A 5th wild pitch from Garcia. Leadoff man aboard, despite technically a strikeout. Here is Segura. On the first pitch, inside the bag at third base, all the way to the corner. D. Gordon hustling into third base. See what Brocious will do. He's waving him home. Here comes D. Loses the helmet. Play at the plate. He is safe. Segura to third. He is safe also. Mariners on the board, 1-0.
This is exactly what you want to do against a pitcher that has been struggling. get after him right away. Segura, typically an aggressive hitter. D trying to catch his breath. Start of the game. I don't think he expected to run that much. See Russell playing in on the turf, right inside the bag. Wasn't sure if they were going to try to send D. Especially with nobody out, but he scores easily. The throw is wide. And then Segura in at third, but they're looking at his hand right now, so hopefully he's okay. We'll take a look at this dive, and he grabs the base. I'm not sure if he ends up getting stepped on right there. He gets stepped on. So they're looking at his hand right now. At first I thought maybe he jammed his thumb. That'll happen sometimes when you're trying to grab onto the base, especially when you dive in late, as Gene did, but I think it was more getting stepped on by Martin. He'll get a double and move up to third on the throw. And right there he gets stepped on, and it's on his right hand, his throwing hand, so hopefully he will be okay. Right there.
He's good enough to stay in. Now some offense very early.
Well,
run in.
Infield is back for the Jays. Martin basically even with the bag at third. So ground ball will score him.
Out to right field. Catch made. Segura bluffs coming home. One out. Now Segura swinging to the first pitch. Cano, same story. Of course, D swung at the first pitch as well.
Well, I think typically you get a pitcher out there that has struggled as far as walks go, giving up home runs, so falling behind in counts. And they're going to try to throw strikes right away. And if it's in the middle of the plate, have at it.
One out. Segura at third base. In steps Nelson Cruz. Nelly a walk, couple of hits, RBI last night.
No batting gloves again.
Figured you noticed that, Mike.
I'm just glad that you did. You're the one that pointed it out last night. Start talking about him getting a couple hits. He's not going to change anything.
1-1. You know, last night, well after the game was over with, James Paxton was on SportsCenter with Seattle's own Kenny Mayne. And Mike, he was clearly doing an interview from the ballpark cam down by the dugout. And I'm not kidding you, James Paxton might as well have been standing in a closet or in a cave. It was complete darkness.
Really?
I mean, he's in outer space, Mike, with the light from the camera shining on him. And of course, my only thought was, well, do they really turn off every single light inside this ballpark? And I tried asking around today, and apparently nobody who works here during the day is ever here that late at night to know if that actually happens. But that'd be an eerie feeling for James as he's has the light on his cell phone guiding him to the dugout. 2-2 on Nelly. Mariners already have a run in here in the first. Watch out.
I wonder what time he was finally done with everything.
I guess ultimately that is a small price to pay, but you do.
Oh, he was happy to do it.
Yes.
You could tell by watching him today.
Sure.
Yeah.
Leaving the ballpark, just asking if anybody wants to talk to him. Hey, that was me. Yeah, I'm that guy. One out, full count to Cruz. Ace is left looking around. Another 3-2. Hard hit grounder. Good play by Gurriel, throwing home. And now Segura caught in between. He's out. Mailey applies the tag. 2 down, Cruz aboard.
And take a look at the infield is back. So on the contact, he's going to take off. But Segura sees how sharply it is hit, and he was going to be thrown out at the plate. Try to get into a rundown, stay in the rundown long enough. Nelson not able to move up to second base. But with the infield back, you're automatically going to take off. He was able to do that. Unfortunately, Nelson hit it too hard. It was a one-hopper right at the shortstop.
Two outs, Cruz at first for Mitch Haniger. Mitch takes ball 1. Now, the numbers for Garcia ahead and behind in the count are pretty staggering, which I guess could be true for most pitchers, Mike, but it seems like it's exaggerated for Garcia. When he falls behind like this, opposing hitters batting .370 against him, compared to .189 when he gets ahead. Make it 2-0. Three and nothing. And for Garcia, the numbers for him at home have been better than that on the road. But you look at the lineups he's faced here inside Rogers Center. This is by far the best lineup he has seen here in his new home ballpark. The White Sox, the Royals, the Rangers, previous 3.
I have to believe Haniger has the green light to swing away 3-0. 10 home runs on the year.
A strike.
Borderline.
Ball 4. 2 outs and 2 on. Cruz into second base. Haniger aboard. Well, for Paxton last night, the 6th no-hitter in franchise history. The 5th by an individual. Of course, Iwakuma at home back in 2015, the last. And the perfecto by Felix, the combined no-no against the Dodgers. Mike, you remember Bazios very well against the Red Sox, and then Randy, the first ever. Now, the biggest difference between James and the previous 5, of course, the fact that it says "at" up there, the first ever done on the road by a Mariners pitcher. All the others coming either at the Kingdome or inside Safeco Field.
Well, it certainly was a special night for James. What a curveball he had last night. Terrific curveball. Always has the good fastball.
Best curve by far of the season for James.
Yes, I would absolutely agree with that.
Oh my.
Oh boy. See where it ends up hitting Kyle. Right on the wrist. That was a fastball. I'm not sure it was a cut fastball, but that squared him up pretty good.
Got him twice. John Gibbons out for a word. Not Pete Walker, the pitching coach. So Gibbons delivering a message early.
And that will bring up one of the hot hitters, Ryan Healy. Mentioned last 11 games hitting .349 with 5 home runs.
He's got the bags packed, 2 outs. Looks at strike 1. You look at the numbers for Healy since coming off the disabled list. 13 games, a hit in 10 of them. 5 of those home runs, all 5 of his homers, I should say, and an OPS pushing 1,000. Oh, 2.
We talk about those numbers, and I was talking to Ryan today, and I relayed the message from both of us how much we appreciated his defense last night. He really played well over at first. And I said, looks like timing's coming along. Things are going pretty well hitting wise. Getting there.
Getting there
is what he told me. Mechanically, I'm still working on it. He's been pretty good.
The 0-2 his way. Well, especially when you consider the numbers we've seen since coming off the disabled list.
Right.
Compared to the numbers prior to his DL stint. Got off to a very sluggish start. Remember, had an abbreviated spring training because of the hand surgery. But he has been a definite threat in the lineup. And a chance to do some damage here with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Another 0-2. Strike 3 called. Borderline pitch. Called strike 3. The Mariners leave him loaded. They do get a run, however, as we go to the bottom of the first. Has in store for us here this evening, making his 7th appearance and his 2nd start of the season after taking over the rotation for Erasmo Ramirez. Facing this lineup is penciled in by John Gibbons.
Average-wise, the Jays have struggled this year. They are 14th in the American League, but they are 1st in home runs. Teoscar Hernandez is going to lead things off. Justin Smoke, the cleanup hitter, the former Mariner, will back cleanup. Dalton Pompey getting his first start in the series. He will round out the 9 for the Jays. For Wade LeBlanc, his 2nd start. 3.57 ERA and 17 2/3. It's 15 strikeouts, 4 walks. Opponents hitting .279.
Starts Hernandez off with strike 1. We saw in his last start, Mike, 4 scoreless innings, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, and Scott was the first to say it afterwards. Wade was running on fumes by the end, which you would imagine as a guy who had been in the bullpen prior to that. But the hopes tonight for Wade?
Yeah, and that last outing you're talking about, he went 71 pitches, which was a few more than they expected him to throw, but they needed him to. I talked to Scott today. Scott's hoping to get 5 innings out of him, so I would imagine in that same area, 70 to 75 pitches.
Finds a hole on the right side. Hernandez is aboard. So no hit last night. Leadoff man a hit here in game 2 to begin things.
We'll take a look at the defense behind him. Guillermo Heredia will get the start in left field. Kyle Seager, what a night defensively. Kyle had to start at third base, and Mike Zunino will do the catching once again.
We were just talking about Wade's last outing, 4 scoreless, 70 pitches, the no decision at home against the A's. Ball 1 to Donaldson.
For Wade, his fastball will be in the upper 80s. Change-up, curveball to go with it. And I think you'll see both of those off-speed pitches a lot while he's out there. The bullpen is in great shape.
In fact, it's almost in a position where Scott needs to get some work for some guys.
He has some guys out there that need some work, so it's a pretty good night to have Wade out there again. 5 innings, 75 pitches in that neighborhood for him.
Slow start to Donaldson, who spent some time with the disabled list with a shoulder injury. It's affected his throwing. He's DHing today. In fact, Donaldson went truly the entire spring training without having to make a throw to first base.
I think that he's the one that Wade would like to be careful with. 4 for 9 with a couple of home runs against him. I don't think he'll give in to him. Try to pitch off the edges of the plate, change speeds.
Three and 1.
Change up down at 77.
Leadoff single by Hernandez. Full count. Right at the knees.
It was Donaldson that was at the plate last night. Ended up hitting a ground ball to Kyle Seager for the final out of the no-hitter. Talked to Kyle about it today, and you and I were talking about it. It was not an easy play. It had some top spin to it, kind of an in-between hop. And Kyle was saying that, you know, you always hope the ball gets hit to you. You just don't want that particular play. But he was able to make it. He said he took a deep breath once he saw that the throw was on line. Good pitch right on the inside corner. But it was a fine play by Kyle. Kyle really was really happy for James, just like as everybody else was. But that was a difficult play. Scott Brocious even came up to me when I was standing by the cage, and he said, "How would you like that play to end the game?" And I said, "Not so much." They hit it to the right guy, though. Kyle, of course, made the backhanded play, the diving play in the 7th inning. But a fine play for him all the way around.
I had a chance to talk with John Gibbons about that play, the diving play. Well, they grabbed all the highlights afterwards, because after all, Gibbons and the Blue Jays, their dugout is the front row seat to third base.
You bet.
And Gibbons, not that he was unfazed, but he said, you know, Kyle Seager's been doing that for a long time.
He has.
And it was very complimentary of Kyle, saying year after year, putting up play after play, both defensively and also at the plate, what he's able to do. One thing that really stood out to Gibby, as this is about the normal look of John Gibbons, by the way, a fine Texan.
Stressed out?
Yeah, exactly. A Texan in Toronto. Is, I said, for a guy who is as sturdily built as Kyle Seager is, one thing that really impressed Gibbons is how quickly, we saw it on full display last night, how quickly he's able to pop up on a play like that and peg Pilar by a good half step.
It really was an amazing play, and again, getting rid of the ball before he even had a good look at first base, knowing that Pilar was running, and there was a perfect one-hop strike. You saw the open for us today. You saw the reaction of James Paxton, who was on the mound, and he could not believe it. He even said after the game he thought as soon as it left the bat he thought it was a hit.
LeBlanc ahead. This is Solarte at the plate, number 3, hitting second baseman. Up to an impressive start in the power department. 9 homers. Leads the team in that category. In fact, I think you would agree, Mike, best sneaky humor on this Mariners 25-man roster is Kyle Seager.
Without question.
Like it's not even close. James said afterwards that when Seager was running back to the dugout and did the glove bump with Paxton after that play in the 7th, he just said, "You're welcome." Right back to Wade. Over to Robbie, chest high. Plenty of time to first. Double play. And that'll wrap things up in the first inning. On to the second. Mariners had the lead. Queen Casino presenting R&B sensation Brian McKnight June 2nd. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. By Safeco Insurance, find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. And by your local Ford stores. Beautiful day for a stroll here in Toronto. Roof is open for the first time this year in Rogers Center. Well, there's the man, James Paxton. It's good to be James. On 99 pitches, no less. Well, not to be lost in all the excitement of last night, but for Mike Zunino, that was his first no-hitter as well.
I congratulate him today. I think James ended up shaking him off just one time throughout the game. And Mike, of course, hit the home run to give him a little bit of run support too, which helps.
On that home run, which was so impressive, a pitch off the plate, he rode the opposite way. How about this? Catchers to go yard while catching a no-hitter. Zunino the first since David Ross of the Cubs when Arrieta spun his no-hitter. Now the catcher, Russell Martin, throws a sinker to first base in time to get Mike. Alex Avila in 2011, then Veritek and Charles Johnson. So pretty short list going back to 97 of guys who have caught a no-hitter and hit a home run. But good for Mike Zunino. And for Mike, when he spoke after the game, you could tell just looking in his face, let alone the words that he had to say, how proud he was of James, because as Mike pointed out, this is a guy that he came up with, right? They've grown together immensely. Strike one to Heredia.
Yeah, Mike even said that after the game.
Right.
Talking to Scott today, I thought he had to have had the line throughout the game, because especially when he gets late, it's pretty tense because everybody wants this to happen so badly for James, and nobody more than Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach. And I was talking to Scott today about different things that were happening and what it was like. Oh boy.
But Walcott just wore that.
I hit him right on the forearm. We'll have to shake that one off.
Waving the trainer off.
I think he's just spiked a fastball, and he does. Yep, right in the forearm. Squared it up pretty good. But Mel, of course, during the 7th inning, because of the play by Kyle, then there was a line drive that was caught, and Pax ends up getting out of the inning. Goes back out for the 8th as he's coming in for the 8th inning. Scott and Mel will always talk in between innings what they're going to do with the starting pitcher, how things are going on every single night. And he said that Mel was so nervous for Pax that Scott just turned around and looked at him and he goes, Mel, it looks pretty good. Why don't you run him out there for the night? And he got a smile out of Mel, but I thought that was a pretty good line.
Walcott looks like he's all right, but this does not look like it was pleasant. Three balls and a strike for Heredia, batting ninth. Looped high and foul. I talked to Scott Service today about, of course, he caught Darryl Kyle's no-hitter.
Right.
When they were,
I think that's
together with the Astros.
That's the one no-hitter that he did catch in the big leagues. Yeah.
I was curious from Scott's perspective for a player like Mike Zunino, what that can do. We talk all the time what that does for a pitcher, right? But what can that do for a catcher? Obviously, Mike is praised all the time about what he does behind the plate. As Heredia will see at least one more pitch. And aside from the kind of the obvious things that you would think in terms of confidence for any player in this position, Scott said, listen, this is about as close as you can replicate when it comes to postseason baseball, right? The nerves, the tension, obviously the drama when you have something like a no-hitter. One out walk to Heredia. Second walk for Garcia today. Well, as you know, James Paxton is scheduled to take the mound on Friday, May 18th for his first home start since throwing a no-hitter, and we are celebrating with select view level seats for $10, select main and club level seats for $30, plus all fans will receive an item commemorating the Big Maple's historic performance. So get your tickets, mariners.com/Paxton, Friday, May 18th. Hope to see you there.
To your point, Aaron, I was talking to Ryan Healy. And we had a number of times last night where we had just some great shots. The guys did a terrific job of Ryan ending a lot of those innings on some of the plays and his reaction to it and how excited he was.
Ryan Healy, hype man.
Exactly. It was a lot. And so I was talking to him about it today, and it kind of struck me. You forget that this is a guy that has not been in the big leagues for a very long time. So you start talking about the postseason, and Scott said the same thing, that was an exciting game for everybody, but especially somebody that probably is the biggest game he's played in so far.
Great point. One out, one on for D. Gordon, who scored the game's lone run. There goes Heredia. Throw low to first base. Guillermo's out.
Typically with the left-hander, you're going to try to steal on the first move. So it's a guessing game. Guillermo did not guess right. He takes off right away. He's not looking to read it. Strong throw from Smoke.
Now 2 outs. Slice, stay fair, foul ball. Well, no surprise to anyone who has heard us talk about Paxton over the years, a relentless worker. There's not a single guy in this clubhouse who wouldn't agree with that. And Scott was saying today that James came in, started doing his early work, his cardio, just like he always does. His smile was a little bit bigger today when he was doing his running. But still full day work prior to first pitch today. Popped up to Smoke at first base. And this ends the inning. Despite that walk, Garcia retires his side in order. We go to the bottom of the second. Wearing a seatbelt is your best defense in any crash. Please always buckle up. Help us reach target zero. Learn more at wadrivetozero.com. Smoke going after the first pitch, doing the block the favor, popping it up over to Healy. 1 pitch and 1 out.
I think Robbie's explaining it to him that the pop-up belongs to him.
Are you saying Robbie's possessive of pop-ups?
Yeah, I think so.
At least on the right side?
I think so.
1 out for Pilar.
I like that Ryan just laughed at him. Robbie was giving him a hard time, though.
Ball 1 to Pilar. Like, I know when you were talking to Scott today, you learned a little bit more about Manny Acta on the bench.
Yeah, so Scott was telling me, we know how superstitious baseball players are in general and not changing things, and pretty good pitch right there. But you get into a no-hitter, right? Everybody knows, and we showed it a number of times with James. Everybody just leaves him alone, don't say anything, that whole thing. Well, Scott was telling me that Manny apparently throughout the game, who's his bench coach, talks a lot about a lot of things. And so Scott said that when it started to get tense with him and Mel, that was a good pitch on the inside corner. Wow. He was saying that he was worried about Manny saying something, and he eventually didn't. So I went over to Manny. I started talking to Manny about it. He goes, yeah. They don't think that I can be quiet when I need to be. And he said, so he said he kept walking up to Scott throughout the game, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, and just kind of looking at him. Scott was looking at him like, don't say anything about what's going on right here. So as soon as the game was over, Manny takes a baseball and tosses it to Scott, and Scott sticks it in his back pocket. But when he pulled it out, it was Manny that he wrote on the baseball, I told you I could be quiet when I needed to be.
It's a nice memento.
Yeah. It was great talking to Manny about it, though.
It's great talking to Manny about just about anything,
That's
especially
true.
no hitter. A couple of very borderline pitches going in Russell Martin's favor. 2-0 with 2 outs. High lift out to left field, but playable for Heredia. Glides over to make the catch, and the side retired in order. We played 2. Mariners lead 1-0. Dealer. Visit steeldealers.com. By Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. And by Virginia Mason Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, making bodies happy again. Good look at City Hall here in Toronto. Mariners lead at 1-0 as we open up the top of the third. Segura has driven in the lone run of the game so far. He leads it off. Looks at ball one. Garcia making just his third career start against the Mariners. Vast majority of his career has come in the National League. Mariners saw him way back in 2010, more recently in 2016. Couldn't help but smile, Mike, when I looked at the box score and saw Daeho Lee was in the lineup that day.
That's right.
Daeho, who's doing well in the KBO right now. Looked at the numbers.
Right?
Yeah, 366, 10 homers.
Good for him.
Soft chopper. Garcia, the glove, throws, spikes it over to first base. Segura easily taking second.
Well, Segura with good speed. Garcia rushing the throw. Probably never really had a decent grip of the baseball. It goes down the right field line. Good start to the third inning for the Mariners.
Leadoff man in scoring position for Cano. Infield single and an error on that play. Robbie leaning away, looking at strike one as Maley will go out for a word.
Some early work for Segura paying off. Early this afternoon, he went out to the cages, did some early work, some hitting. A couple of hits for him.
Double the single and RBI. Not to say that there was any concern about Segura, but you do go back Saturday, 3 hits against the Angels, hitless since then. Not at bats, no big deal there, but Segura, a guy that we're used to seeing on base sometimes multiple times in a game.
If he stays healthy, he will be right around 200 hits. Looks like his hand is okay. If you missed it, he was diving into third base back in the first inning, and third baseman Russell Martin stepped on his hand. Scott Service, the trainer, came out, took a look at him, and seems to be fine.
To Smoke at first base. Handles that himself. One down as Segura gets into third.
High five for Robbie to move him along.
Well, last night's no-hitter, Mike, with 2 strikes. Here the percentage mix of pitches for James. What do you make of this?
Well, you see the slider, and that was the same pitch that he used quite a bit when he had the 16 strikeouts. His fastball is always going to throw that. But again, his curveball, I thought it was the best curveball he had. And typically he will throw the curveball early in counts. But with 2 strikes using the curveball last night, so really mixed it up, especially late with his fastball in the upper 90s. That's tough to deal with when you have to think about 82-mile-an-hour curveball, slider at 90, and then his fastball in the upper 90s.
Ball 1 to Nelly.
Now the infield is in for the Jays.
Martin at third base takes his time. Easy toss across. There's that number 2. That keeps Segura at third base. Two outs for Mitch Haniger, who walked his last time up. Mariners, of course, winning last night. Now 12-6 on the road. And entering tonight's game. Entering today, a better way to put it, since there's some games that have gone final within the division. Mariners just a game outside of first. Look how bunched up. Astros, Angels, Mariners, all within a run of each other entering today.
In the first inning, D. Gordon scored on a double from first base. It's the one run for the Mariners. Right now they're 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position.
Out to the gap in left center field. Cranked out that way. Base hit over the wall. Ground rule double. Segura in. Mitch Haniger drives in a run to make it 2-0 Mariners.
I think I talked him into that base hit, Aaron. Screaming line drive into the gap. Trying to elevate the fastball, but ends up thigh high. Kyle was hit on the wrist his first time up.
We haven't seen Kyle really shaken up like that in a long time. Old foul. Mariners a run in the first, now a run here in the third. Behind 0-2. The Seager family making the trip north of the border. His wonderful wife Julie playing catch with his son, Crew. I'm surprised that Seager is supporting the Blue Jays glove that Crew's wearing, but you know, let it slide. It is Kyle after all. Slicing out towards the chalk. Pompey can't make the catch. Seager will look to see at least one more pitch.
Yeah, it's a break for Kyle. Hopefully he can take advantage of it. Pompey, it looked as if maybe he lost it, didn't see it quite right. Last second you can see that little bit of a burst. Well, break for Kyle and the Mariners.
And if we think that Kyle is the toughest one of the family, I think it's worth noting that Julie flew from Seattle to Toronto with 2 children.
Good point.
2-2. Shift on for Seager. Pushes it full. Garcia's walked 2 already over the first 2 innings. Chance to bring Healy up if Kyle can reach. Here comes the payoff. Reaching for one, fouls it away. Next pitch will be number 8 to Kyle, as Garcia's pitch count is approaching 60 now. Another 3-2. Mariners have a couple of men aboard. Third walk from Garcia. So Kyle has reached for the second time without a hit. It was a frustrating ending rather to Healy's last at bat. Very borderline pitch ruled against him for a strike 3 call, and that was with the bases loaded. So a chance here with 2 outs and 2 on.
Garcia was pitching him away in the last pitch. Borderline on the corner, borderline at the knees.
Seager at first base, Haniger at second after the RBI double. .69-mile-an-hour curveball low, ball 1. Garcia has given up his share of home runs so far this year. 6 previous starts, 8 total home runs. Has given up at least 1 homer each start of the season, in fact. Did high the opposite way. Hernandez over for a look, but a foul ball.
Garcia now in 60 pitches, and Aaron, when you have a pitcher that has been struggling, and Garcia has little things that normally doesn't seem like it's such a big deal, but Pompey not making the play on Kyle, a number of pitches after that before Kyle finally works out the walk, and now you have Ryan up there, so they're adding to his pitch count, making him throw stressful pitches. All those things matter when you get into a game for a pitcher. If James is out there last night and the same play happens and isn't made, it probably doesn't make a difference for James because he's rolling along. But when a pitcher's struggling, all of those things are magnified.
You're right. It seemed like really in recent starts, not just last night for James, we've seen some instances where really more than plays behind him not being made, but maybe he's got 2 strikes on a guy, right? Borderline pitch goes against him, and then no kidding, the next pitch a guy rolls over one, gets the punch out on the next pitch. It seems like ultimately it doesn't make that big of a difference,
right?
But that's just the way of James Paxton these days.
But when you have a pitcher that is struggling, it's the opposite effect to that.
The 1-2 evens up 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now Garcia had a quick inning in the second. He did walk a man, but Heredia was caught stealing second base, so Garcia faced the minimum that inning, but faced 7 in the first through over 20 pitches. This is turning out to be a lengthy third for him as well. Now full count. Zunino on deck, a home run last night. That's back-to-back full counts. Now the 3-2. So Martin over at third base takes his time on target to first, and the Mariners strand a couple. They do grab a run though. Mitch Haniger's ground rule double makes it 2-0 Mariners. T-Mobile presents Hats Off for Heroes because no matter where you serve or when you serve, we stand ready to serve all military families. Good look at the train station in downtown Toronto. CN Tower off to the right. Wade LeBlanc has faced the minimum through 2 innings. Facing Lourdes Gurriel, the shortstop. Yuli Gurriel's brother. We see Yuli all the time with the Astros. By the way, we've mentioned a couple of games in the division that have gone final today. The Astros finishing off a sweep of the Athletics. To the gap. And Haniger is fighting the lights. Dee gets over there a tad late. And Gurriel in at second base.
I think maybe some communication. It looked as if Dee was going to be there, no problem. Trying to avoid running into Mitch at the same time as he's trying to make the catch.
Leadoff double for Gurriel. Here's Maley, the catcher. Well, at least for right now, they have ruled that an error on Dee Gordon. 1-1. Mike, you can be honest. Should I not be surprised by that? Like I am surprised by that?
Well, I think again there was some communication issues there. The ball probably should be caught. I mean, it looked as if Mitch was there. I'm sure that they will talk about it after the game. But Dee was also the one that ended up touching the ball and then went to the ground. So that's probably the reason why they gave him the error.
Fair enough. All right, so back to the no-no last night. The whiff rate, Mike, on each of his 3 main pitches last night.
Well, again, we talked about how good his curveball was, and you can see the whiff rate on it at 39%. Better than his fastball, and he topped out at 100. So pretty good curveball for James last night.
1-0 on for Dalton Pompey. I think one of the really interesting conversations about last night, if you look at the last 2 starts for Paxton, the no-hitter last night. Before that, of course, we all remember the 16 strikeout effort against the A's at home. I mean, you can make the case, Mike, and at first it might sound ludicrous, but the more you think about it, you can make the case that his start against the A's, 16 strikeouts over 7 innings, was a more dominant start than what we saw last night when he threw only the 6th no-hitter in franchise history.
Well, I was thinking about it. You mentioned it before the game to me, and so I started thinking about it. And in the 16 strikeouts, he was so dominant in that outing that I could not recall anybody squaring the baseball up in that outing. Well, last night there were a number, probably 4 times that we saw somebody hit the ball really hard last night, but they were able to make plays. In that 16 strikeout outing, I don't think anybody hit the ball on the barrel. So you could be right about that.
Time is called.
Well, the other things too, going back to that play on the outfield, when I was down on the field yesterday, they had the roof was closed. Today it's open. The wind is swirling and it's blowing pretty good down there too. So that could cause some problems. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Where I think a number of the players when I was down there wanted to see if they would close it.
Heredia able to make the catch. Dropped on the transfer. That's an out. It remains an out, and they double him up at second. Ho, ho, ho. Think again. And it was all by design. Makes the catch, the bobble. How about a strike to second base? is domination by pitcher? How about these two different categories? 15 strikeouts, 2 runs or fewer, or how about a shutout with 3 or fewer hits? Here's the list of guys who do this in consecutive starts. Paxton, of course, Scherzer in 2015. Martin Perez did not qualify for the strikeout category, 15 plus, but back-to-back shutouts with 3 hits or fewer. So, I mean, you look at things, consecutive starts, just flat out dominating the opponent. It's a pretty short list of guys who have done something at least similar to what Paxton has done.
An impressive list. And it kind of gets you excited to think about what he's going to do against the Tigers in his next outing.
We'll see him near the very end of the trip on Sunday. Tigers without Miguel Cabrera on the disabled list with a hamstring. Mike saying last night with a big smile that catching that no-hitter was the highlight of his career to this point, as you might imagine.
Congratulated him this afternoon, and we talked a little bit about it, and then I looked at him and I said, no, by the way, that pitch that you hit out of the ballpark for a home run was impressive.
It was a joke.
Yeah, and he smiled. He said, it was nice to be able to cover the pitch away, and similar to that one right there, but it was also right at the knees. And talked to Edgar about it, and he said that when he's able to cover the outer half of the plate, he's typically in a pretty good position to hit, and we saw that last night. It was an impressive home run.
What do you think, an inch off the plate?
Yeah, and he hit it out to right field. It's terrific.
Smoke at first base going back, wants it. Plays the wind a little bit. There's that number 1. Well, the Mariners and Aquafina celebrate Little League Day on Sunday, May 20th, when the Mariners face off against the Tigers at 110. All kids 14 and under will receive a pair of wristbands featuring one of the smoothest shortstops in the game. Of course, that's Gene Segura. Head on over to Mariners.com to pick up your tickets. One out, base is empty for Heredia, who walked earlier. Going back to that play that Heredia made to end the inning, Mike, we know all about his ability with the glove. We probably don't talk enough about his throwing abilities.
He has a terrific throwing arm. It's a plus throwing arm, and it's very accurate. He seems to always throw to the right base. Hits his cutoff man.
There's chance for Pilar today in center field, one of the game's best.
And I think that if he hadn't dropped the line drive after making a really nice catch on it, he was going to throw on the run like you would see Segura from the shortstop position, which would have been fun to watch. Terrific athlete.
2 outs. That brings us to the top of the order to D. Gordon. D looking for his first hit tonight. Last 9 games, he has 21 hits. Batting .553 in that span. Twisting pop-up foul. Martin onto the track. Can't make the catch. Looks like his lower half's all right.
At the start of today, D. Gordon tied with Altuve most hits in Major League Baseball, both of them with 49. And Russell Martin typically is going to be their starting catcher, getting a chance to play some third base, and just runs out of a little bit of room over there.
To Pilar once again. Well, it turns out to be a very quick top of the 4th for Jaime Garcia. Second time in 4 innings he's faced the minimum. Start number 8 coming up from Mike Leake. Mariners would like to see him really get on a roll. 3 runs, 5 1/3 his last time out at home against the Angels. Went 6 innings of time before that. On the other side, a familiar face, former Mariner Jay Happ. Happ has been one of the best starters so far this season for John Gibbons.
One of the things that we know about Jay Happ is the Mariners lineup. We'll see a lot of fastballs tomorrow.
No question about that. Happ put together some really nice starts so far this year. Breaks his bat. 0-2. You know, I almost feel like mocking myself, Mike, when I look at the game-by-game for Happ, saying he's strung together these great starts. About to say, twice he's gone 7 innings in back-to-back starts. But nowadays, if you can do that, that's saying something.
I think that it is. Today's game. Scott Servais hoping to get 5 innings out of Wade LeBlanc today. And it's just his second start. In his first start, he threw 71 pitches. So far, he's faced the minimum through 3 innings. Giving up just the 1 hit. A couple of double plays turned behind him.
High out to center. D looking up and gone. That's crushed. Teoscar Hernandez leads off the bottom of the 4th. Home run number 6. Blue Jays on the board.
Blue Jays have struggled putting hits together this year, but they are first in the American League in hitting home runs. Fastball middle of the plate, just above the belt. Hernandez hits it up into the restaurant.
Well, Hernandez has both of the Blue Jays hits against LeBlanc. Steps Donaldson. One of the great memories that we will forever hold from last night's no-hitter is James Paxton throwing 100 miles an hour in his second to last pitch, 99 on his last pitch. And the quotes from James afterwards facing this man, the one-time American League MVP, when James said, well, I was just trying to throw it as hard as I possibly could. That's what it looked like. 1-2. When you look at the 9th inning last night for James, how quickly it went. Pitch number 6, 99.5. We'll round up to 100. And then the last one to end the game, the ground out to Seager at 99. And as it turned out, you look at all the pitches James has thrown this year, from his first pitch of the season to what we saw last night. Those final 2 pitches of the game last night, the 2 hardest thrown pitches by James all season. Opposite way out to Haniger. Slows up in the gap. 1 down. Go back to the pitch to Hernandez to begin this inning.
It's about location in our Primera Supermo, and the swing by Hernandez. He wanted to elevate the fastball, but it ended up in the middle of the plate. Typically, he will pitch inside. Hernandez, though, leadoff hitter. That's his 6th home run.
Got some pop at the top of the order. So Larte has 9 homers. Number 3 hitter for the Blue Jays. He digs in. We were talking earlier about John Gibbons, the skipper for the Blue Jays, and his comments on the impressive play by Kyle Seager. Now, what he said about Paxton, to be honest, Mike, I thought was just hysterical. He was he was talking about.
Now, was he trying to amuse you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that in classic John Gibbons fashion. And to left field for a base hit. Heredia over to cut it off. 1 out single for Solarte. That brings up Smoke. He said that he was well aware of what James had done in his last start, the 16 strikeouts against the A's. So he was saying, hey, let's put some balls in play. Let's try to hit a few balls hard. Next thing you know, we did hit a few balls. We got no hits. That's how it worked out. Here's Justin Smoke. Congratulations to Smokey. He and his wife just celebrated the birth of their second daughter, Berkeley. The rest of the family's back near Charleston, South Carolina. As you can see, the home run damage this year by the Blue Jays Mike was talking about. When I asked Justin about facing Paxton last night, he said in that Carolina drawl of his, he said, you know, it's real smooth and methodical, then all of a sudden 98.
It's on you.
Yeah, just like a big old catapult coming at you.
I think sometimes when you see those velocities, like we'll see it with relievers, closers, you can see the max effort, and I think timing it's a little bit easier.
Chance for 2, not in time. Close play, but Smoke safe. 2 out Smoke aboard for Pilar. But something different about timing the max effort, guys, Mike?
I think for a hitter it's a little bit easier to time those guys. But with James it's so easy and it's so smooth that you don't expect that type of velocity, even though you can see it and you know it. To time it is a little bit more difficult, I think.
One and one. Two out, Smoke at first. It's a tie and run. This is the first inning so far tonight. LeBlanc has not faced the minimum. He's had some help behind him from his defense. A couple of double plays. The 1-2. Right side and through. Blue Jays have a couple of men aboard, and now the tie and run is in scoring position. Well, it's the perfect pairing. Friday, May 25th, the first 10,000 fans 21 and older will receive a set of Robinson Cano and Nelson Cruz wine stoppers. Buy early and save by visiting Mariners.com for tickets. On the team flight, Mike, those couple of wine stoppers passed around up to the player section.
I'm wondering, I bet they may make an appearance. Why not?
Here's Russell Martin. A couple of bouncers over to Segura the short way to end the inning. 2 men are stranded. A home run by the Blue Jays. Mariners still have the lead. top of the fifth. A reminder, as always, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Mariners. Facing Jaime Garcia. Ball 1 to Segura.
Gene with a double down in the left field corner and an infield hit.
Gets a call there, 2-1. Right at the knees, this time with strike 2 and 2. We were mentioning how tightly bunched the top of the division is. Mariners a game outside of first entering today. Astros up there, a half game lead over the Angels. There is out number 1. Third strikeout for Garcia. We go back to last night. The out distribution for James Paxton, Mike, how he was able to get all the outs in his no-hitter. Leading the way on the ground.
Leading the way on the ground. 10 ground ball outs. 7 strikeouts for him. But everybody involved in the win last night in the no-hitter with James. A lot of defense behind him. The one double play.
One out, in steps Cano.
No hitter, but is it disappointing that it wasn't double digits on the strikeouts? He had 10 against Cleveland, of course, 16 last time.
You know, crushing would be too strong. The 1-0. To me, the amazing thing in the era of pitch counts and strikeouts, which we know James can certainly strike a batter out with the best of them, to get it done, 99 pitches.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Pretty remarkable, especially you think about how efficient his final 2 innings were. 9 pitches in the 8th inning, and then what was it, 7 pitches in the 9th.
I guess it was when he was able to get through the 6th. I looked up and saw that his pitch count was in great shape, especially knowing that Scott would, in a scenario like last night, he'd let him throw 120, 125 pitches if he needed to.
Sure, chasing history. It's like spring training where he gets done after the no-hitter and then goes on the bullpen, throws another 20.
Yeah.
Just to get my work in. A leap and a catch made by Gurriel short. It's a hard out, number 2.
They're not always going to get a hit, but Robbie continues to square the ball up. Solid line drive right at the shortstop, so some bad luck for him.
Two up, 2 down. In steps Nelson.
0 for 2. He's hit the ball on the ground a couple of times tonight.
Looks at ball 1. Remember, it was Jaime Garcia last year who was traded by the Braves to the Twins, made 1 start for Paul Molitor. They flipped him and traded him to the Yankees. And then realized, oh, wait, we're in wild card contention. In fact, we're going to play in the wild card game. I mean, how long do you keep the receipt of a trade like that to ask for it back? 8 starts with New York after that trade. Signed as a free agent with the Blue Jays this offseason.
Nelson will be swinging 3-0 if he gets a pitch to his liking.
Here it comes. It is not. He'll take first base. 2-out walk. 4th walk in this game by Garcia. I'll stick around after the game for Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines. Scott told the story of after James got done with his 100 interviews on the field after last night's game was over, with the guys at the clubhouse were waiting for him. And in the sound system in the Mariners clubhouse, which is on the smaller side here at Rogers Center, they had "O Canada" blaring for him as he walked through the door of the clubhouse.
Nice touch.
Ball went to Haniger. Two outs, Nelly aboard. The 1-0 off the plate. Mainly out to talk.
I imagine James will sleep well tonight. Sure, he was up late
Hopefully
last
he gets
night.
to bed earlier. Yeah. Here comes the 2-0. You know, I did like it, and James talked about this, how the fans were heckling him a little bit with the no-hitter. In fact, we could hear one fan just screaming, "You have a no-hitter."
Going for the jinx. Yeah.
But you could tell by the end of the game, like most people knew he was from British Columbia. They came to the game last night. They could maybe see the tattoo. Seemed like by the end of it, they were more on his side than before. Back-to-back walks. Boy, the clock really ticking on Garcia.
No, I think by the time he was able to get to the last couple of innings, more of them were on his side.
Yeah, it kind of felt that way. Pete Walker, the pitching coach, out to chat.
Kyle Seager getting ready to hit. Kyle has been on base a couple of times. He was hit by a pitch and then worked a walk.
Jake Petrichka, son 1-0, getting loose as well.
15, Kyle Seager.
It's now 5 walks for Garcia and back-to-back walks with 2 outs. He's put Seager on twice without Kyle getting to hit. He was hit by a pitch and walked in the 3rd. Stays fair, over to Smoke. Handles this himself. Mariners strand 2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Thank you, Angie. Now, plenty of people in Lander excited after last night's game. Owen to Gurriel. Down the line and pulled foul. 0-2.
Exciting news, Aaron. Mound visits. Blue Jays only have 2 left.
Things are getting tense.
I don't think we've been close this year, have we?
I think there was one time, I believe it was actually the Mariners, not the opponent, where Scott was told by the umpire either you have a visit left or you are out of visits.
Huh.
I think one time so far.
Right.
It has not provided much drama. Soft ground ball to Seager. On target, 1 down. By the way, we talk all the time, Mike, about Seager's accuracy.
Yes.
The shot that we had last night from the third base side of Seager's final throw for the final out of the game. And as you described, it was not an easy play. Kyle made it look easier than it actually was. I mean, Mike, I could have put my glove in front of my chest and caught that ball. I mean, it was right to Healy's sternum. I mean, it was right on the money. It was perfect. You think about the emotions that Seager is thinking, probably blocking out, but he knows what's trying to cap this thing off. Up the middle, Robbie slides down, pops up casually.
Speaking of defense.
Back to Seager's play to end things.
This is kind of an in-between hop. It's got a lot of top spin. Again, it's Donaldson that's hitting. Kyle goes to his left. So you can see how just close that is to his body. He secures it with both hands. And then the throw across the diamond.
I mean, come on. I'm making that catch, Mike.
Strike.
Now the glove comes back and it hits me in the face, but I'm still making the catch.
Again, for Kyle, I was talking to him today, and he said that once he secured the ball and was able to throw it, and out of his hand, he saw that it was going to be a good throw. That's when he was able to relax.
He could breathe a little bit.
He said he would prefer a pop-up in foul territory next time.
Or a strikeout.
Yeah, but he was able to handle it. Had a really good night defensively.
Oh, 2. Two outs, nobody on, bottom of the 5th inning. LeBlanc's been very efficient, has had some help with his defense, as we've seen. Check swing. He goes. LeBlanc, another 1-2-3 inning. Faces the minimum of the 5th. scoreless against the A's. How about Scherzer? Same story. This was a few years ago back in 15, and then of course Johnny Vandermeer in 1938, who spun the only back-to-back no-hitters in baseball history. Which, by the way, looking at his game log, the start before his first no-hitter, which we see here, 9 innings and 1 run. So that was a pretty good stretch of a few games for old Johnny Vandermeer.
Well, we'll see what James will do on Sunday against the Tigers.
Sun 1-0 on the mound to pitch here in the 6th inning for Toronto after Jaime Garcia goes 5.
He has pitched well. 16 appearances, a 1.76 ERA, 15 strikeouts, only 3 walks. Opponent's hitting .230. Ryan Healy 0 for 2.
First pitch strike. I lift out towards right field in the corner. Teoscar Hernandez with 2 hands, 1 out. Well, baseball fans and green thumbs alike, join us on Saturday, May 19th, when the Mariners host the Tigers for Felix Hernandez infield grass bobblehead night, presented by KeyBank. This one-of-a-kind bobblehead grows real grass. Get your seats at mariners.com. Oh, the first pitch strike to Zunino. Originally from South Korea, had a tremendous career there before coming to the States in 2016. Spent some time as the St. Louis Cardinals closer each of the last 2 years. His first year was brilliant, regressed last season. Gets Zunino. 2 quick outs.
Using his fastball 90 to 92 miles an hour. 3 fastballs in a row, probably just above the belt. All of them almost in the same spot.
Heredia, first into first base, barehand the catcher, Russell Martin, looking like an everyday third bagger. That is impressive. of the 6th inning. Wade LeBlanc, very efficient, very strong, Mike, over 5 innings.
Oh, I'm sure Scott Service, Mel Stottlemyre, happy with his outing. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. It's a solo home run. Big key, didn't walk anybody. 3 strikeouts. He threw 58 pitches.
Our Beacon Plumbing call to the pen. Mariners reliever on here. Chasen Bradford will work at the bottom of the 6th.
10 appearances, a 2.5 ERA, 12 strikeouts, and 14 1/3. Opponents hitting just 173. Fastball in the low 90s with a slider.
Most recently saw Bradford in 2 games at the end of the homestand against the Angels. Hernandez, the home run back in the 4th. 1-1. Just foul. 1-2. Now Hernandez had a terrific month of April, hit just over 300 to begin the season. Comes to Toronto by way of Houston. Came for the Blue Jays in the Francisco Liriano deal. Liriano, by the way, Ron Gardenhire's rotation for the Tigers. He's pitching very well this year. Last look, 6 starts, an ERA just under 3. Bounces in. 2-2. Runs the count full.
John Axford, hard throwing right-hander, getting loose for the Blue Jays. Donaldson waiting on deck.
Bradford's 3-2. Flick down the right field line and a fair ball. 3-hit night for Teoscar Hernandez. Bounces into the seats. Held it a double. Fan touched it.
Well, this is going to bring Scott Service out of the dugout. They're going to give him third base.
Quinn Wolcott, the home plate umpire. Now look what you've done.
Well, Jeff Kellogg is at first base, and I think Scott isn't clear when the ball was touched. Obviously a big play in the game, and Scott wants him to take a look at it just to make sure. Looked as if it hit the top of the fence first. We'll have to take a look and see where the runners were at. Here is the runner. Hits the fence, is not touched yet. It's touched right there. Haniger standing right there.
Right.
Well, they're going to take a look at it, so hopefully, seems to me he should be at second base. Was he even halfway to second when the ball was touched? And Haniger was right there.
Yeah, Haniger could practically shake hands with the person who got the ball.
Bradford continues to throw just to stay loose while they take a look.
Rounding first, ball is
touched
touched
right there. He's only 2 steps, 3 steps
right
at the most past first base. And there's Haniger, and he still isn't to second base. 2, 3, 5 steps from second base, and Haniger's right there.
And safe to say the Mitch pulled up a little bit once he saw that the ball was being
touched.
held.
Correct.
This would appear to be a no-brainer. We've said that before, though. But you're right, especially in this situation, 1-run game, big difference between second and third.
You have Donaldson going up there, and certainly if he was at second, isn't going to bunt. And the other thing about him is he likes to hit the ball in the air, and you have pretty good speed at third, so you'd like to see him at second base and not third base, obviously.
This is taking some time. Right, here we go, looks like. See if he redirects some traffic.
Yeah.
Yep, he does.
Yeah.
Back to second.
That's the right call.
Let's see if Gibbons pops out. Maybe John saw what all of us saw. That was worth the time to get it right.
Not many opportunities for the Jays in this one tonight. They are 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position.
Go ahead, run at the plate. Swings right through it, strike one. Donaldson with 3 consecutive 30-homer seasons entering this year. Oh, and 2. How about that for some location?
And back-to-back sliders. Might go with the slider again, try to throw it off the plate away, see if he can get him to chase it.
Oh, 2 to Donaldson.
And there it is.
Check swing, he goes. On first name basis, Josh not too pleased. We are apologizing for that language.
He thought he was able to check his swing, but I think it's a pretty good pitch. 92 miles an hour, a little cut fastball on the outside corner. Every hitter in this league wants you to get help on that. I can tell you that one.
There's Solarte. Can you take us into an umpire's mind, Mike? I mean, you're right. There's not a single player that wouldn't want that, but if it's easy just to point.
Nobody's ever given me a good enough explanation. Other than to tell you that they can see it and they don't need the help. If they need help, then they'll ask for it. But I think it's just when you're trying, and again, especially in today's game, when you're trying to watch a pitch, decide whether it's on the plate because they're all close. But yet you have to watch to see if the hitter checks his swing or not. I think is asking a lot. I think you just help yourself out by asking, but it's hit or miss whether they will or not, or whether they won't. But all hitters, they always want you to ask. And it can't be because of time. It literally takes a second. So I'm not sure why it's that way. It's always been that way, though.
1 and 2. Now the 3/4 check swing, right? That's one thing when it's obvious. Another look at Donaldson's check.
And when we see it and we slow it down, it's much easier. But again, to your eye, if you're tracking a pitch and to try to pick up where that bat is at and how quickly they bring it back, I think it's asking a lot.
Full foul. Limbo's him back 2-2. Solarte has been a dangerous hitter this year for the Blue Jays. Probably more than what they were expecting already. Leads the Blue Jays in home runs and in RBIs. A chance to tie the game with Hernandez, who runs well at second base. Full count. Meanwhile, Smoke on deck. Not the most fleet of foot, a chance for double play if Solarte reaches. The 3-2. To center. He's sizing it up, makes the catch. Hernandez advancing into third base, tiptoes in safely. 2 outs. The Orca card is all you need to ride the Sounder train, link light rail, buses, ferries, and streetcars. You can learn more at getorcasmart.org. Roof open tonight here at Rogers Center. 2 outs, a man at third base for Smoke. Mariners put the shift on for him. Loses feet, ball 1.
Good play by Mike Zunino. Then they changed the defense a little bit. Kyle Seager, even with the bag at third. Segura more up the middle.
Seager backing up a couple of steps. 1-1. Vincent beginning to stir inside the Mariners pen. Pilar on deck, 2 outs. Opposite way, foul, slicing away from Heredia. 2 strikes against Smoke now. Bradford's 1-2. Hernandez at third base. He reached on the ground rule double to begin things. Two outs, tying run at third. Foul back.
Pretty good pitch, fastball, top of the strike zone. That was the target from Mike.
And target again. Crushed down to the pole. Got every bit of that, but puts it foul.
This one's just above the belt. Inner half of the plate.
Try it again, the 2-2. Full count. That's back-to-back full counts. He was able to get Solarte to fly out to center. Pilar, the man on deck. A single his last time up. A hot hitter to begin the season for the Blue Jays.
Bradford's had to throw a lot of pitches. 24 pitches, 14 strikes in the inning.
Still a chance to get out of it unscathed. 3-2 coming to Smoke. Smoke the go-ahead run. Another foul ball. Next pitch will be number 10 to Justin Smoke. A big spot here for Bradford and the Mariners. It continues.
I always thought that the longer a hitter stays at home plate, he starts to gain an advantage in an at bat. And now he's seen 10 pitches and he's seen everything. So for Chasen Bradford, he's going to have to locate probably right on the corner somewhere, make a quality pitch to put him away.
Pitch number 11 is Smoke. We'll bring on pitch number 12.
You mentioned the 2 Smoke does not run well, so if he loses them, he'll start over with the next hitter.
They lost him. 12-pitch walk for Smoke. Say you earned that one. Here comes Scott. Benson's been warming. Runners on the corners. We've got a pitching change. Nick Vincent coming on here with 2 outs and 2 on. The ball in play and winds it up at second base.
Would end up with an infield hit because of his speed. Garcia rushes the throw, throws it down the line. So that'll be an infield hit and an error. And then Mitch Haniger, this is what he's done. First month and a half of the season.
He drives him in. Mariners holding a 1-run lead. 2-1. 2 outs, 2 on. Runners on the corners. Smoke at first base. Hernandez at third, and Nick Vincent up on the mound.
15 appearances, ERA just over 5. 14 strikeouts and 12 in the third. Opponents hitting .269.
First pitch strike to Pilar.
For Nick, his fastball right around 90 miles an hour. Cutter at 87 and a slider.
Healy over, but this will find the seats and make it 0-2. Pilar entered this series tied for the major league lead in doubles with 15. Not an easy out. Tying run at third, 2 outs. The 0-2, stunned to right. Haniger closing. Haniger making the catch to end the inning. Bradford and Vincent navigate the 6th, scoreless. Sports is brought to you by Country Financial. When it comes to planning your future, start with simple steps today at countryfinancial.com. By the National Electrical Contractors Association Cascade Chapter, investing in our future. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. This is just outside Rogers Center. Some trains worth looking at as we go to the 7th. John Axford, native of Ontario, up on the mound pitching for the Blue Jays.
Hard throwing right-hander, mid to upper 90s with his fastball, cutter, curveball to go with it.
First pitch. Boy, Russell Martin, man, he's been busy. Jeez.
He has played well. Typically, we're used to seeing him behind the plate. He is having an excellent night defensively. Playing in because of the speed. Indeed, trying to slap it by him, but how about that?
I don't know if anybody saw this coming. Not even Gibbons, probably. That's impressive. The bare hand play earlier, even more so. 1 pitch, 1 out. Here is Segura. John Axford originally drafted by the Mariners back in 2001. You can see his numbers.
1.5 ERA. He's pitched well.
He never did end up signing with the Mariners. He was drafted again in 2005. And there's one point back in 2011 he was one of the best closers in the game, led the National League with the Brewers, 46 saves. Into center in front of Pilar, can't make the catch. Don't say that very often. One out, Segura aboard for the third time.
This third base hit. Solid line drive. Pretty good break by Pilar, and we're used to watching him make catches. Sliding, diving, up against the wall. That worked out for Jane, his third hit.
Well, some tough luck last time up for Robbie.
Lined out to the shortstop.
One out, one on. First pitch strike. Behind 0-2. Elsewhere today in the division, the Angels blanking the Rockies 8-0. So the two teams in front of the Mariners winning. Houston winning in Oakland. Angels a lopsided win against Colorado. Mariners leading here tonight in the 7th. Garrett Cole, by the way, another 9 strikeouts over 6 innings. 9 seems to be his floor. Still 1-2.
He was already leading the American League going into today. He had 77 strikeouts going into that game today. And it was Verlander and Paxton.
And nobody had a higher strikeout per 9 rate than Paxton entering last night's game. And on the hands, ties him up. Robbie out number 2.
Pretty good cutter.
MLB At Bat is your #1 Mariners app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get the Mariners home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV game of the day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today. Two outs, one on for Nelson Cruz. An at-bat plug, Mike, making its way around the social realm after Paxton's no-hitter was a little league team around Seattle that was taking refuge in the covered dugout, listening to the final out, listening to the great Rick Riz, voice of the Mariners. A little league team huddled around the phone, listening to the app. It's not exactly a transistor radio, but it's modern day version of it. And when I saw that, my heart melted a little bit, man. That is about the coolest thing ever.
That is very cool. Yeah.
And of course, they just went ballistic afterwards.
Which is even cooler.
A perfectly timed rain delay for that team. Just the best. Up and in. Ball and 2 strikes to Nelly. Segura the single at first, his 3rd hit. Breaks his bat.
Last couple of pitches just trying to stay in on his hands. Axford's topped out at 96 miles an hour.
Saws him off again. Pompey left. At number 3. Segura stranded. We stretch. Mariners by a run. Play today. Another beautiful day in Toronto. Mariners enjoyed an off day here a couple of days ago. The roof is open tonight for the first time all season here at Rogers Center. Nick Vincent stays out on the mound. He got Pilar to end the 6th. He will start the 7th.
James Pazos starting to get loose in the pen for the Mariners.
First pitch missing to Russell Martin. There's James. I don't know, maybe we should not be all that impressed by what Russell's been able to do at third base today. He was a Gold Glover back in the day. Won his first back in 2007, his second year in the big leagues. That's when it was the Dodgers a long time ago. Vincent behind 2-1. Evens it up. Right back to Zunino's glove. He puts the squeeze on. There's out number 1. Now don't miss the chance to celebrate Mother's Day again on May 20th when the Mariners host the Tigers at 1:10. First 10,000 moms to Safeco Field will receive a Mariners tote courtesy of EQC. So head on over to mariners.com to pick up your tickets. Lourdes Gurriel, the shortstop, with 1 out. He charges this out to left center. D. Gordon hustling over. D is able to make the catch. 2 outs.
Actually out towards right center, covered a lot of ground. Goes into the slide and picks up his right hand. I want to pick up any burns out there.
Here's Luke Maley, the catcher tonight. Ball 1. Missing twice off the plate, 2-0 to Maley. Gets a strike on him. Out towards left, Heredia.
Couldn't see it.
Yeah, now over his head. Spongy turf here. On to third. He's into the slide.
One of the great plays in last night's game was a line drive out to center field. D. Gordon had a tough time seeing it. And for Heredia, you can see the way he reacts. He wasn't sure where the ball was. Talked how bouncy this turf is and gets a little bit too close to it.
Well, we have seen outfielders with that look on their face more in the game and a half than we have over most series.
It's because of where the lights are, and that semi-line drive that goes out there is where they have a tough time with it. It's always been that way, and he clearly had a beat on it off the bat. Typically, he's going to make that catch in the air and the inning is over, but he lost it in the lights.
2 outs, a runner at third, a triple for Maley. Here's Pompey.
Blue Jays 0 for 5, runners in scoring position.
Two and 0. The Blue Jays stranded a runner at third base in the 6th. Mariners trying to get him to do the same thing here in the 7th. Vincent behind 3-0. Teoscar Hernandez, a 3-hit night, including the home run, the only run so far for the Blue Jays on deck.
Ocasio getting loose in the pen for the Mariners.
Full count. Good pitch. Here comes the payoff. Near the line, slicing, Heredia, long run, and foul ball. Maley, the 2-out triple. Tie and run 90 feet from home. Pompey, meanwhile, only 6 at-bats this year. And he's aboard, ball 4. That's the same story as in the 6th. Runners down the corners. Here comes Mel.
Saw Pazos getting loose. Nicasio is ready to go. now at 20 pitches.
It is Vincent to face Hernandez. Nick trying to get out of a bind here in the 7th. Hernandez a 3-hit night. In fact, a triple shy of the cycle. On the first pitch, out to Haniger. Has a beat on it, playing the wind, and he makes the catch to end the inning. Vincent spins a scoreless 7th, and he strands runners down the corners. Sports is brought to you by BNSF, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. By CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. And by Jack in the Box, try the new Cholula Buttery Jack, part of the Buttery Jack family, only at Jack in the Box. Mariners hold it on, clinging to a 1-run lead. We open up the 8th. Ryan Tepera, the new pitcher on the mound for the Blue Jays.
He's pitched well this year for the Jays. 18 appearances, a 3.24 ERA, but 18 strikeouts in 16 2/3. He has given up 4 home runs.
Haniger looks at ball 1. Haniger trying to get on base for the 4th time tonight.
Pretty good swing at that fastball at 95 miles an hour, right in the middle of the plate.
Takes low. Now, Mike, maybe this is just selective memory on my part, but it seems to me that no one on the Mariners takes more pitches just beneath the knees, some borderline pitches that are close. A lot of guys will be swinging after the Mitch Haniger.
He talks about it all the time, getting a good pitch for him to hit, which is typically elevated out over the plate. So he almost automatically eliminates that until he gets to 2 strikes, because I would agree with you. But that's kind of just his thought process of what he's trying to do.
He gets aboard for the 4th time, his 3rd walk. RBI double as well. Leadoff man aboard. Good start for the Mariners. Kyle Seager's been on base twice.
Nobody getting loose in the pen for the Jays. Nicasio ready to go. He will pitch the 8th.
Just beneath the knees, ball 1. Oh, Mitch Haniger and Kyle Seager.
Of course.
Wow, throw to first base. Smoke able to swat it down.
Kyle's been on base a couple of times. Was hit by a pitch. Kind of scary. It hit him right on the wrist. He was able to stay in the game. Also walked and then grounded out to first.
Slicing out towards Pompey near the line. The fielder's got it. 1 out. 1 out, 1 on. That'll bring up Ryan Healy. Well, tomorrow night, final game of the series. Our coverage begins at 3:30. Mike Leake up on the mound for the Mariners, going up against the familiar face in Jay Happ for Happ, his second stint with the Blue Jays. Should be a good one tomorrow in the finale. If the Mariners hold on to the lead tonight, it will be a chance for a sweep behind Mike Leake. Healy looking for his first hit tonight. Haniger at first. Looks at strike 1. Out off the lower half of Ryan. Walking that one off a little bit.
If it was right off the top of his foot, he has some padding there. Yep.
Count goes to 0-2. Now Maley was really setting up away. That's where it went.
And a pretty good lead for Mitch over at first. He has 1 stolen base this year.
There he goes. Boy, he broke real early. Throw to second. And Mitch is there as Gurriel is under the bag.
Well, I think Mitch did exactly the right thing. If you take off early, which he did, obviously, just keep running. It's a difficult play. They're waiting to see what the pitcher is going to do. He takes off, and he knows that he left early and that there's going to be a play, but just keep running and dives into second. I think you have a better chance being safe by doing that as opposed to trying to get in a rundown.
Breaking some ankles along the way.
Yeah.
Haley sets up outside again. Harden having to charge this. The backhand pumps a heater to first base. 2 outs. Get home field advantage on Silver Bullet Saturdays. Download the Coors Light Rewards app and start earning points towards rewards like Mariners tickets and Coors Light gear while supplies last. Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Two outs, Haniger in scoring position. In steps Mike Zunino. 0-1.
Tough night for the Mariners, hitting with runners in scoring position, just 1 for 9. Done a pretty good job of driving in runs this year, but a tough night so far.
Oh, 2. They appealed out to first base. He does not go. It's 1-2 to Mike. Swings through it. Well, the Mariners strand their 9th base runner. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Mariners have the lead. Well, Mariners fans, Ford dealers in the Pacific Northwest are helping local community food banks by hosting a peanut butter drive to make sure no child goes hungry this summer. Visit your local Ford store today to donate an unopened jar of peanut butter. For more information on how to donate, visit www.fordfeedskids.org. As Juan Nicasio takes the mound for the Mariners toward the 8th.
17 appearances, a 1-0 record ERA. Just over 4 at 17 2/3. He has 19 strikeouts, only 1 walk this year. Opponent's hitting .254. His fastball 91 to 95 miles an hour with a hard slider.
Donaldson leads it off. 0 for 3 tonight. It's an inside ball 1. Takes a strike there, right at the knees, 2-1.
Tyler Clippard getting loose for the Jays.
Clippard pitching very well for Toronto. Evens up 2-2 now. Towards right center field, in for a base hit. Gordon right at the base of the track. Donaldson hunts second base, and he stands in there with a double. Tying run right away in scoring position.
Off speed pitch, 87. You can see Mike set up away, and it ends up right in the middle of the plate.
Having to work around a leadoff double here at Solarte.
Solarte 1 for 3 in the game, leads the club in RBIs.
Now to keep the Blue Jays off the board, this will have to be the third straight inning where the Mariners strand a Blue Jays runner in scoring position. Swinging out of his shoes, 1-1. Casio ahead. Donaldson out at second. Missing high, 2-2.
So far he's topped out at 95 miles an hour. The last fastball at 94.
Down stays put.
And a slider in on his hands.
Only run of the game so far for the Blue Jays coming on the Teoscar Hernandez home run back in the fourth. That was off of LeBlanc, who went 5 innings. 5 very strong innings. In front of Zunino, full count. Keeps Donaldson put. Zunino out to the mound. Robbie as well. Turn it into crunch time here in the 8th. Nicasio's 3-2. Pulled foul.
Didn't want to give in to him. Went right back to the slider on the inside corner. Justin Smoke waiting on deck.
Lengthy plate appearance last time up for him. Donaldson, the tie and run out at second. Nobody out. Another 3-2. Out to left. Heredia breaking on it. Can't make the catch. Donaldson coming in, and this game is tied. Got Herbert Solarte, a run-scoring double. It's back-to-back doubles for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 8th, and we are even at 2.
Well, first hit with a runner in scoring position for the Jays tonight. Fastball, middle of the plate. He lines it into left field. Alford going to run for him.
We saw Anthony Alford in the lineup last night in left field.
Not sure what they're going to look at.
What might have happened here? Gibbons doing a little investigating.
Solarte, when he slid into second base, he kind of popped up in the air, but it didn't seem like there was a tag on him at the time. Watch him, he'll hit the base. The throw's a little bit offline. So Robbie comes right back as he pops up in the air. His foot is on the base there. No, I think he's okay. I don't think he lost contact with the base after that.
It doesn't look like there's anything there. Solarte done for the night after the double and a pinch runner. Not sure if we got a slow connection to New York. Might be some busy traffic going into the umpire's office in New York right now. Well, home plate umpire, Quinn Wolcott, going over to talk to Scott Service. Safe.
And Solarte happy about it.
Looked for a pinch runner. Alford at second base. This game is tied now.
Back-to-back doubles here in the inning. Still nobody out.
There's Smoke. On the first pitch out to right field. Haniger can't make the catch. Alford tearing around third base. Justin Smoke has given the Blue Jays the lead on the first pitch that he sees in the 8th inning.
3 doubles in a row. First pitch fastball. for Nicasio. Now 14 pitches, has yet to get an out. Solarte excited.
Deals a strike to Pilar. Pilar smokes this to left field. Blue Jays playing that on. Smoke coming home. Pilar, he's dead duck at second base. He knows it. Pilar out. It does drive in Justin Smoke. 4-2 Blue Jays.
And it's a great throw by Heredia in left field to record the first out here in the inning.
First pitch swinging. Russell Martin fouls this away. And we were talking about Heredia's arm earlier. He's kept Robbie busy at second base a couple of times tonight now.
And for Juan Nicasio, a lot of pitches in the middle of the plate.
Well, he had given up 4 doubles all season. He gives up 3 to the first 3 hitters here in the 8th. Oh, and 2. Goodell getting loose for the Mariners.
Clippard ready to go for the Jays.
Out to the gap in left center. Down for a base hit. Heredia cuts it off. Martin chugging for second base, and he is in with a double. 4th double this inning. 5 straight hits to open up the bottom of the 8th.
Scott Service on his way out to the mound.
Goodell coming in. 1 out, 1 on. Blue Jays have a 2-run lead. And on the other side of the highway, you can see the lights and all the green grass where the Sounders were tonight as they beat Toronto FC 2-1. That's the side of the old exhibition stadium as well. Not too far away from where we are here on a very pleasant night downtown Toronto. Tough one for Nicasio. Nearly 5 straight doubles had it not been from a strong throw from Guillermo Heredia.
There's just too many pitches in the middle of the plate for him tonight. Eric Goodell, this will be his 3rd appearance. Just 2 2/3 so far. Fastball split. Mix in a slider with it.
1-on facing Gurriel. Oh, 2. The Blue Jays had scored just 1 run over the first 7 innings. That was the Hernandez homer. They found 3 runs on the board here in the 8th, threatening for more. Check swing, he goes. Good start by Goodell. Up and strikes him. Is that number 2? Well, fans, as we continue our annual Ultimate Fan Contest this season, we'd like to extend an invitation to all Northwest sports fans to join us on July 7th at Safeco Field. Receive a view level ticket and your choice of an Ultimate Northwest t-shirt for just $19 or a main level seat and t-shirt for $37 when you purchase through this special offer. For details, check out mariners.com/ultimate. And he looks at strike 1. Ground ball. Segura can't get there. Martin tearing around third base. Here comes the throw home. Martin slides. He's safe. And Mahle is into second. It's a 4-run inning for the Blue Jays. It's 5-2 Toronto.
Base hit in the hole. Strong throw by Heredia. But a great slide from Martin as he slides back to the inside part of the plate. Mike not able to get back in time.
Pinch hitter Curtis Granderson making his series debut. Dealing with a hamstring injury. Looks at ball 1. Three-run lead for the Jays now. Gets away from Zunino. Mahle and the third.
Wild pitch. The Jays were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, but they are 4 for 5 in this inning.
Two and 1. Good numbers for Granderson coming off the bench. Swings and misses to end the inning. A productive inning, though, for the Blue Jays. They grab 4 runs. They take the lead. The Mariners settling down to their final 3 outs. Well, we want you to join the conversation for up-to-date game information and live interaction. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Check us out. Stay connected with Root Sports. Tyler Clippard, we saw him last year with the Astros. Now with the Blue Jays, he is on to work the ninth.
19 appearances for him, a 1.47 ERA, 20 strikeouts, and 18 1/3. He also has 9 walks, so he can get wild opponents hitting just 133. Ben Gamble going to pinch hit for Heredia.
Of course, right now we would normally be seeing Roberto Osuna. A storyline for the Blue Jays coming into play tonight. Osuna arrested yesterday. A domestic incident at his home here in Toronto, has been placed on administrative leave by the commissioner's office, something that the Blue Jays are in full support of. So it is Clippard instead. Certainly has closer's experience.
And quickly in front.
The 1-2. Now, simply put, the Mariners have just not been able to get anything going against this Blue Jays bullpen tonight. Clippard looking like he thought that might have been strike 3, but it was outside. Bounce it back, still 2-2. Mariners got Jaime Garcia for a couple of runs. He walked 5. It's been a new reliever in inning for John Gibbons since then, starting in the 6th.
Well, if Ben can reach, get back to the top of the lineup. D. Gordon waiting on deck.
Segura, then Cano. Gene with 3 hits tonight. Another 2-2. Another foul ball.
8 pitches so far in the at bat.
Pitch number 9 to Gamble. Slapped into left field, drops in, base hit. What an at bat by Ben Gamble.
We were talking about it last night with him. He's getting closer. It looks like his timing is getting better. Had to really battle for this base hit. 9 pitches. Off speed pitch, able to stay on it long enough and line it into left field. Russell Martin, the third baseman, in on the turf, trying to take the bunt away from D. Gordon.
Oh to 1. Inside.
Get another base runner on and you get to the middle of your lineup. Cano, Cruz, Haniger, Seager.
Holds back on the swing. He's ahead now 2-1. Well, the Mariners will have the right guys coming up. The ahead 3-1.
Segura waiting on deck. As Aaron mentioned, he's been hot today. 3 hits for him in the ball game.
Socked out to right field. Teoscar Hernandez makes the catch for out number 1. One out. Gamble staying put at first base. Segura comes to the plate. You can see what Gene has done tonight. Really strong night at the plate for Segura. On 1.
Another off speed pitch at 79 miles an hour. Really took a lot off of it.
Now Gene's got a chance for his first 4-hit game of the season. Chasing. Now behind 0-2. And here it comes. 2 outs.
Oh, it'll be up to Robinson Cano. Another fastball right in the middle of the plate, just a late swing. Gene trying to fight it off.
2 outs, down by 3. Robbie taking all the way, looking at strike 1. Mariners had a 1-run lead going into the bottom of the 8th inning. A 4 spot though by the Blue Jays on 6 hits. 4 of them doubles, nearly 5 of them doubles. Oh, 2. Flipper looking for his first save of the season. The 0-2. Blue Jays take game 2 of the series. We got the rubber game coming up tomorrow behind Mike Lee.
Mariners able to score a couple of runs early in this one, but just could not add on the offense. There was nothing there over the last 6 innings for him. And a tough night for Juan Nicasio in the 8th.
Blue Jays win it 5-2 the final. Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines begins right now. Ryan, Angie, you guys, all yours.